Ladies and gentlemen, this is the general announcement for China Airlines Flight CI005 and Delta 7734.
So this week on Ignition, we're going to start by traveling about 24 hours to get maybe 8 hours with a car. Why? Well, because when Ferrari calls and says, would you like to come to Fiorano and drive the F12 Berlinetta, the most powerful production Ferrari ever, you don't say no. Because our window of time with the F12 is very small, this episode is going to be different. We'll have little time for the high-quality camera setups and beauty shots you're used to. Instead, we're just going to record everything, the preparation, the dinners, the technical briefing, arriving at the track, and so on, to give you an honest and upfront documentary of our trip. The day before, we start with a technical briefing hosted by the engineers that built the car. Following that is some delicious food and sleep. Much needed sleep. So it's about 8:30 in the morning in Maranello, which means it's, what, 11:30 at night on the West Coast? And no time for jet lag though, because we're about to take off for Fiorano. You can sense the eagerness in the group. Maranello, after all, is Disneyland for car enthusiasts. Everything wears the proud prancing horse logo. Entering Fiorano with exclusive access is the stuff of childhood dreams. One of the most interesting things about the F12 is its design. In particular, you have this line that starts here in the hood, cuts through the fender, comes over here through the door, and actually terminates on the quarter panel. The most controversial bit of it, of course, is this right here. The air actually travels underneath it and creates downforce. This functions as a spoiler. Ferrari calls it the aero bridge. And with it and a couple other tricks, this car actually generates over 270 pounds of downforce at 125 miles an hour. Then you have these guys right here. At the right temperature and at the right speed, they actually flip open, allowing air to come in and cool the brakes. It's a very cool piece of technology. And then of course there's the stylized rear bumper, and I absolutely love it. The F1 inspiration all the way down to this fog light here. It's functional though. These are actually going to draw air through it as the car is accelerating at a high speed. Very cool piece of aerodynamic work here. Let's say it's the perfect marriage of design and aerodynamics. I'll give you a fair warning. This is going to be a very positive review. It's tough because you want to concentrate, you want to be fast. You have such a short window of time with the car. That's fifth gear, wide open throttle. What a car. This is a car with nearly 750 horsepower, and it's not intimidating to go wide open throttle in fourth gear entering fifth gear. I mean, that's a very special thing to accomplish. So we just finished our track session at Fiorano, and what an incredible way to introduce an incredible car. Now we're going to take one and drive it on the same roads that Ferrari used to develop the car. So now we've had some time to come back down from the high of driving this on Fiorano and driven it on some beautiful Italian country roads, and well, let's start from the beginning. What is the F12 Berlinetta? Well, it's the replacement for the 599. It's Ferrari's flagship front-engine V12 rear-wheel drive coupe. And over the 599, it's pretty impressive. It's actually smaller, shorter in height, shorter in wheelbase and length, and a bit narrower, and most importantly, lighter than the 599. And what's interesting is Ferrari has tried really hard while shortening the exterior dimensions to maintain the same interior. This is a Ferrari that customers tend to drive for longer distances than your given 458. The throttle response is so sharp and so accurate that it's actually pretty fun to drive even at slow speeds. I also need to mention the steering because it takes some getting used to. You only have about 2 turns lock to lock, and the movement is so precise you can drive this car literally with your fingertips. It gives such perfect feedback to your hands that it makes it so easy to drive around town or fast on a racetrack. This is a very technologically advanced car, but all those computer systems aren't screaming in your face the whole time when you drive it. They managed to hide it particularly well underneath the stunning exterior and the way this thing drives. And then there's the sound it makes when you roll on. It's a terrific intake growl, and then just this snarl through the exhaust pipes. It is pure music to the ears. And you get a burble and crackle on deacceleration and ask for a downshift, and it's just instantaneous. Building a car like the F12 Berlinetta is very difficult because it's supposed to be a comfortable Grand Tourer car that you could drive for long distances, but then being a Ferrari, you also expect it to have extreme performance. And somehow Ferrari's managed to do that. They've managed to make a car that's comfortable on the streets, easy to drive, easy to place on the road, and then when you take to a racetrack, it's utterly mind-blowing. Everything is in absolute harmony with everything else. And you gotta wonder how they're gonna outdo themselves. Sure enough, there's gonna be more powerful versions of this car coming along, but how? While our time with the F12 can only be described as criminally short, it was so worth it. It was worth every second of the flight to Maranello. It was worth every second of the flight home and the time we spent in endless security lines. The F12 is simply an incredible supercar. But the thing is, calling it the most powerful production Ferrari ever almost does it a disservice. It may have great gobs of power, but it's so much more than that. It's the rolling, beautiful sounding result of Ferrari's aerodynamic and technological advancements, and yet it never seems like the computers are doing all the work. It still feels organic and driver-focused. The F12 is immediately charming, monstrously fast, and easy to drive. It leaves you desiring so much more of it.